girls. For our STEM lesson today, we are going to be talking about materials. In our previous lesson, we looked a little bit about how our materials that we were using interacted in sort of like a chemical reaction kind of way. But today, we're going to spend our time looking at how materials are used and what materials are used for certain things. And in doing that today, we're going to be focusing a lot on toys. In front of me on the table, I have a couple of different toys that I might spend my day playing with at home. And I'm going to have a little bit of a look at each of these different toys today and the materials that we use to make them. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a think about why I think these materials were chosen for these specific toys. The very first toy I'm going to have a look at the material on is my teddy bear. I know lots of us have teddy bears at home. They're a really excellent toy and they can give us comfort when we cuddle them, and they can also join us on adventures by being our friend. When I touch my teddy bear, the thing I like about him is how soft he is. And I can see that that material used is a little bit of like fabric and he's a little bit fluffy. And when I squeeze him, I can feel inside that there's a little bit of fluff or a little bit of stuffing inside him. And I think those materials were chosen because he needs to be cuddly. If they'd chosen different materials to make my teddy bear, he mightn't be as nice to cuddle up to at the end of a long day. The second toy I'm going to have a look at now is my rocket. Now, my rocket is really light. It's not very heavy at all because it needs to be able to go through the air. So I can see and I can feel that my rocket is mostly made of foam. And those foam pieces have been cut out and stuck together to make that rocket shape. I think that whoever made this picked the foam because, as I said, it's pretty light and it was pretty easy for them to cut to be the way they needed it to be. The next toy I'm going to look at is my deck of cards. I know that decks of cards are pretty easy to come across. I know that lots of families have them at home, and generally they are made of cardboard. They're pretty thin, pretty flimsy, and you can play a lot of different games with a deck of cards. I think that they're made of cardboard because it's a little bit more sturdy than just paper, so they don't rip quite as easily as paper would, but they're all still really light and probably not very expensive to make. I think cardboard is probably a lot cheaper than some other materials. So that's my deck of cards. And my last toy I'm going to look at today is my Fuhrer. He's a little bit more special than some of the other toys. He's actually a little robot that I can connect to my iPad and I can drive around and do different activities with him. I can see that on the outside, he's made of a really, really hard plastic. And I know that on the inside, he's probably got some metal and some wires and things like that that help him turn on. And he's got some light bulbs because when I use him, he can actually light up and change different colors. I think that the people who designed him made his insides out of metal and wires because that's what they needed to make him work. But I think they put this hard plastic on the outside so that he's pretty strong. So that if I was driving around my Fuhrer and I accidentally ran into something, then it's not going to break straight away and I'm going to be able to keep playing with it again and again and again. So these are the 4 toys that I chose to look at today and to have a little think about the materials that they might be using. Your job at home this week is going to be very similar. You need to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and then you need to move around the house and you need to find 5 of your favourite toys. On that piece of paper, you're going to write down the list of the materials used to make those toys. What do you think they are made of? Are they hard? Are they soft? Do you think they have anything inside that you might like to take a little bit of a guess about? So you're going to make that full list of materials. Once you've written that down, you're going to take that piece of paper and I want you to have a chat with mum, dad, big brother, big sister, grandma, grandpa, whoever's at home with you today. And I want you to tell them, why do you think those toys were made out of those materials? Why do you think those materials were a good choice for that toy? Because I think there's a good reason behind every single one of those. Alright, thanks so much for tuning into our video today, guys. I look forward to seeing all your work and hearing about the toys that you've chosen to look at home. Thanks, guys. Bye.